3 months before Clat, I like to call it the last mile for Clat preparation. Because in a marathon, the last mile is what matters the most. It makes or breaks the winner. So the last 3 months are like the last mile. They can completely change the trajectory of your preparation. So it's not too late. I am assuming a lot of the people attending the session maybe are crash course takers or those who have been preparing for about a year or maybe more who are droppers. So it's not too late for those who haven't been preparing as hard or those who have just started preparing. It's the perfect time to start in case you haven't already. So what should your strategy be for the last 3 months? The first and foremost point that I would like to emphasize on is that do not start anything new. Do not get swayed by what people say. कोई आके बोले कि my teacher told me that ये question पक्का आएगा तो you prepare. Don't do that. Don't start anything new. Don't pick up something raw जिसमें like something that takes up your entire time. Stick to your strategy, whatever strategy you've had so far. In case you've had one, of course, follow that. Do not try any new study patterns, like nothing out of the blue. Stick to what you're comfortable with. Okay, this is the time to perfect your art. The last 3 months are not a time to pick up a new skill. They are the time to polish what you already have. In case you're a crash course taker, don't worry, you're just in time, as I've already said. The 3 months hold the same value for you as for any other Clat aspirant. Practicing and giving mocks are your best friend. I cannot emphasize this enough. Mocks are like an unparalleled resource for any entrance test taker. They provide you, polishing in every aspect, in terms of strategy, in terms of time management, in terms of variety of questions. It's perfect. Mocks, honestly, there's nothing better than mocks when it comes to any entrance test, especially the last 3 months. All you should be doing is mocks and practicing your mistakes. That's all. And do not listen to anyone else. Stick to your strategy. And again, this is another thing that I lay heavy emphasis on. Stick to your strategy. It's very easy for us to get swayed by what other people say in the last few months. And a lot of people will be talking in the last few months. There's a lot of videos on YouTube that this should be your strategy, that should be your strategy. But I honestly think whatever you've been following so far, keep doing it. And in case you're a crash course taker, of course, you may not have a strategy, but I'm going to offer one in case you'd like to heed that advice. Why mocks? So the greatest advantage of giving multiple mocks is they provide you a variety of questions. No two questions are same. All right, even if I give you 5 questions that are all narrative passages for English, for the English section, they'll not be same. The only thing same will be the thought process. So what mocks help you do is they give you a variety of questions, and each question will be a new challenge. For example, if in a mock you first time encounter a data-based question, all right, that will help you develop the thought process for answering one in case it appears in your Clat examination. And if I give you 5 data-based questions, not all will be the same length, right? Not all will be on a topic you're comfortable with. Some people may be comfortable with data-based passages which are on finance topics. So they'll be able to read that, comprehend it, and answer questions pretty easily. But the same person might not be comfortable with data-based question on, say, environmental issues. So what mocks do is give you a wide variety of questions and combinations that challenge you. Challenging yourself is very important. That's the entire point of practicing, to challenge yourself, to get yourself accustomed to thinking in a certain way. And mocks help you assess your strong and weak points. When you give multiple mocks, you start to understand कि okay, मेरी गलती बार-बार इस जगह पे हो रही है. So there's something that needs to be fixed in this area. This is where I'm consistently scoring. So this is my strong point. I need to make sure that I do this right in the exam, right? It lets you know what specific type of questions you have a hard time with. So again, like I said, you see patterns in your own performance. For example, when I used to give mocks in the last 3 months, I had like a very rough time with questions that passages that use jargon, like environmental passages or financial topic passages. they used to have very specific use of words and statements and phrases that were specific to that topic, and I could not comprehend it. So what mocks taught me was to understand those phrases. Over time I like begin to understand कि, okay, ये phrase का ये मतलब है, or this is how I'm supposed to go about a complex passage like this. So that's another advantage mocks have. Mocks are a form of self-reflection and self-assessment. In the last 3 months, self-assessment is very important. All right, you need to understand exactly where you're lacking, because like I said, it's the time to polish, right? So for polishing, you need to know what the rough areas are. Mocks are the perfect way to assess that. They offer you much needed practice. Of course, that's a self-explaining point. They create a simulation of the actual examination. So this is something I feel like not enough people think of, that when you're in the examination hall, you're in a different state of mind. There is a clock ticking, there are a lot of people around you, there's a lot of pressure. So mocks kind of offer you a simulation of that. If you time yourself, which I highly suggest you do, like put a clock besides you and make sure you finish the mock within the stipulated time as will be provided in the examination, and it will kind of provide you a similar situation. You'll be able to know if you panic when a clock is ticking. You'll be able to know how much time you're taking for a given section. All of those things you need to account for when you're preparing, because those factors in the examination hall can really affect your preparation. You could be like at 100% preparation, but if the clock ticking or if the people around you, if they make you panic, that can just ruin everything. So that is another thing mocks help you do. You get access to new information with respect to the GK section. So mocks don't usually have the same passages when it comes to GK. They may have the same topic, but then within that topic, they'll offer you a different type of question or different information. That is a very good way to study GK. That is what I used to do actually. Instead of like reading compendiums, which is not a wrong method, of course, but I'm just saying this is an alternate method to do the same, is that I used to solve mocks and the GK section, whatever topic appeared, I would just write down the answers in the notebook because that was new information. And then 1 month before Clat, I just went through that notebook like crazy. I filled 2, 3 notebooks like that and I would just go through them. That was a lot of information. I think a lot of people underestimate the information the GK section and mocks have. No two questions are the same, but the thought process behind them is similar. I said this before, but practicing and solving a variety of questions helps you develop different thought processes. So you'll not be surprised when you see a certain question in Clat. You'll have some practice with regard to that. You won't be going in blind, all right? And how many mocks to solve? Try to solve one mock plus practicing questions every day is what my advice is. But 3 a week, 4 a week is enough as well. The main idea of mocks is to challenge yourself. So even 3 a week is more than enough. Feel like use the rest of the time to practice. And of course, your pace is the best choice. Everyone has different circumstances, different capacities. So whatever suits you best. Honestly, 3 mocks a week is more than enough. If you can manage one mock a day, that's amazing. How to effectively solve mocks. So solving mocks for the sake of it is just useless, for the lack of a better word. After solving, look at the mistakes. Mock solve करके you need to sit down. Like after solving, you need to sit down for 1 hour, 2 hours, and like in detail look at where you went wrong. Okay, not just a mistake. Okay, इसका answer गलत आया, not that. क्यों गलत आया? Where did I go wrong? Like, was my concept not clear? Did I make a calculation mistake? Did I misread something in a passage? Was I out of time? Or did you panic? Try to identify those points. Again, like I said, there's a pattern in your mistakes always. Okay, so try to identify that pattern. It will tell you why you are doing that, like why you're making that mistake. Okay, and then when you know that, you can try to find a way to solve the problem. Practicing more of the questions that you know are troubling you. So say while solving mocks, you find a pattern that you're always messing up in, say, a certain kind of maths question. Okay, so what you can do now is find more of that topic. For example, say, I don't know, profit and loss is where you're going wrong. So you can practice more of those, right? And Of course, mocks will offer you practice of the other topics as well. But now that you know that profit and loss is something that I'm having trouble with, you can just practice more of it, right? Mark the questions you get wrong and attempt them again in 10 to 15 days. तो कोई क्वेश्चन गलत करके उसमें लाइक समझ के कि क्या मिस्टेक हो उसे छोड़ नहीं देना. You have to come back to it in 10 days, 15 days, whenever you get time, after you've forgotten what the answer is. Okay, that's the key point. Answer याद नहीं होना चाहिए. Okay, you go back to that passage and not just one, you accumulate them. Like if you solve 3 mocks, you reattempt all the mistakes of all those 3 mocks together. Okay, and you do them again and then see if there was an improvement. पिछली बार किसी पैसेज के 5 क्वेश्चन गलत हुए, इस बार सिर्फ 3 गलत हुए, that's an improvement. सारे सही हुए, that's an improvement. Okay, try to assess if your practice of that weak point is amounting to an improvement, and if it's not, then you need to find a way to practice more effectively. Also mark questions that you got right by chance. Yes, so sometimes you just mark question कि ये सही दिख रहा है या कुछ और सही नहीं दिख रहा तो ये ठीक है या चलो कुछ भी मार्क कर देते हैं. तो in that case you need to mark those questions. I'm sure and see if you're consistent with your
Molly, we are facing some audio issue from your side. I guess you must be starting once again. Kanish, is she audible to you?
No, no, Aryan, there is some internet glitch from her side, I think.
Okay, okay.
She will join a meeting in a while. So if you have,
I was talking about how to effectively solve mocks. So, could someone just tell me at which point I lost all of you, like exactly, if someone could, in the chat or something? I don't know.
the point that you, yeah, yeah. Please share the screen once again. Yeah, also mark
Am I
question that you, yeah, also mark question that you got right by chance. This is the point that you
all
mentioned.
right? All right. Okay, my bad. So some questions we get right just by chance. So you need to look and see वो क्यों by chance सही हुए. Like तुम्हें सही लगा कि ये सही दिख रहा है, but then why was it correct? You need to look at that as well, so that next time वो by chance नहीं सही हो. You need to secure that 1 mark for the next time. And strategize, build presence of mind, and get accustomed to the format. Um, you need to look at the time that you're taking, your time management. Again, analyzing your performance in mocks is another way to strategize. I think I've been over this. 2:1 ratio for the first 2 months. Whatever we've been talking about so far, that you solve mocks, you analyze, you reattempt the questions, and you practice what you're bad at. You're supposed to do that for the first 2 months. In the last month, do not work on the weak points. There is no point in working on something जो नहीं हो रहा है. Last 1 month में नहीं होगा. Like it just won't work. You'll be wasting your time on something that will not get you marks eventually. So you want to focus on something that you're good at. If you're good at the English section, practice more of that. Because like if you know you're good at something, but then उसमें marks जाएं, like actual examination में तो ज़्यादा बुरा लगेगा. Because you could have had those marks, but you could not. Just because you spent your time working on something that you were not good at. Okay, it's important to work on your weaknesses, but it's more important to work on your strengths. Polish the rough edges. Matlab, definitely you will know what your strong points are. Just focus on that. Focus on gathering marks based on your strong points. And don't worry, the last 3 months are a time of training yourself in every aspect. And if you start doing it right now, you'll be fine. Frankly speaking, I started preparing in the last 3 months. I was a crash course taker. All I did was solve mocks. That's all I did. I barely studied, except for the like small videos and stuff. जिससे कोई topic समझ आता था उसे छोड़ के I barely studied. Solving mocks is an amazing way of preparing. I'll keep saying it over and over again, but please solve mocks, please self-assess, and keep practicing. Now, I understand that solving 3 mocks a week or one every day will take a lot of resources. मतलब इतने question कहाँ से आएंगे, इतने mocks कहाँ से आएंगे? There's a lot of resources. I have listed some. Lightning Dreams is always happy to provide resources, sessions, and some presentations that we prepare are always there to help you. Ask your friends and fellow aspirants if you know someone in your family, in your school group, or if you know someone through someone, like तुम्हारे बहन का कोई है, or like your friend's friend or something, ask them. Everyone will share resources. कोई अपने पास नहीं रखेगा. Okay, there is उनका अपने पास रख के कोई फायदा नहीं हो रहा. Just ask them, they'll give it to you. All right, just keep asking people for resources if you know someone who will have them. Previous year's questions, a golden source. Previous year's questions are a very, very good practice resource. And you get them on the internet pretty easily. All you have to type is previous year's Clat questions and you'll get the papers. It's a very easy to find source and a very good source at that. Clat test series and other videos on YouTube. So there's a lot of channels on YouTube like Legal Edge, Unacademy Law, Study IQ, etc., etc. That in the last 3 months, especially in the last month, they do 6-hour long, 4-hour long live streams where they solve a certain type of questions or a whole mock. I highly suggest you attend those. Again, they will offer you a variety of questions. They also explain why an answer is right, why an answer is wrong. So, मतलब अपना दिमाग लगाने का काम थोड़ा कम हो जाएगा. They'll be offering you the answer on a silver platter. All you have to do is remember it, right? Study IQ and Endeavor GK series are a very, very good resource for current events. So what Endeavor GK series does is they have like these 3 to 4 minute videos, and in brief, they list out all the important events of a month, which I feel is a very good way to just know what's happening. So if you feel उसमें से कुछ एक आने ही वाला है, मतलब like I mean after solving mocks you understand कि कौन से topic ज़्यादा आ रहे हैं. So when you watch these GK series, not only will you have an idea of क्या क्या हो रहा है उसमें से जो तुम्हें लगे कि ये पक्का आएगा, ये ज़्यादा important लग रहा है, you can go and read more about it. You know, it's a very good way to keep up with things. Study IQ as well, I feel like it offers a lot of in-depth information about important topics. So especially about current events, you know, there are certain topics जो तुम्हें पता होते हैं कि आने ही वाला है. For example, for the 2020 batch NEP, we all of us knew आने ही वाला है. All of us studied for NEP. ठीक है, तो there are some topics I'm pretty sure for your batch as well. Identify those topics, and Study IQ has videos on a lot of these topics, current events. So I highly suggest you go through them, watch them, remember what they tell you. There's a lot of like Easter egg informations. जैसे Clat में नहीं आता कि issue is about, I don't know, say Afghanistan, and Afghanistan का पहला president कौन था, something like that. A lot of this will be offered in Study IQ. I think you should go through it. Download PDFs of Clat preparation books. So there are Clat preparation books, right? Universal's Guide to Clat, AP Bhardwaj, Pearson Publishing ka ye wo. Z Library is a website where you can download the PDFs of these books. I'll note it down somewhere if you want to. Z Library. You just have to type it onto the internet. It will take you to a site. And I think you have 10 free logins, free downloads every week, 10 or 5 or something like that. So you don't even have to make an account. All you have to do is search for the book you want and download it, right, in PDF format. I actually downloaded a few with me right now. So if someone wants them, I can give them to the Lightning Dreams admins and they'll like forward it to you if that's possible. But note down Z Library. It's a very good website for downloading books of any kind, not just Clat preparation, any kind of book. Open source mocks and practice papers are related all over the internet. everywhere. All you have to do is type in legal aptitude mocks, legal aptitude practice papers, logical reasoning, बहुत resources आएंगे, practice papers with solutions, previous years, mocks, everything is available. All you have to do is download. A few sites that I personally like a lot are Smart Kida and Type Online. Type Online needs you to make an account, but you do not have to pay. Those are quizzes with answers. Some information will be important, some won't be. You just have to, go through it all. Monthly compendiums. I think Drishti IAS is a site that offers monthly compendiums. There's a lot of others that do that, like monthly compendiums too. It's like the Endeavor GK series, but it's much more detailed. Like they have a lot of important points for each topic covered in these compendiums. I highly suggest get access to one of those or find one of those and try to follow them. And see, last 3 months में there's no point in going to the monthly compendium of the last 10 months, right? So, like I said, identify the important events that have happened, that are likely to come, and go through only those topics. Other time come, if it's possible for you to go through all 10 months, 12 months effectively, amazing. That's all. Telegram groups. I believe there are a lot of Telegram groups and channels which offer like, these mocks and stuff from uh, I, IQ ideas and some other coachings. So I do not have access to any of those. Unfortunately, I could not list the link for them. But if you have access to any of these, please share it with others and use the mocks available on those. And every practice you get is good practice. A lot of these sources will not have questions that are up to the mark, maybe, or which may not be like exactly important for Clat. But I suggest you still do them. Every practice is good practice. At the end of the day, it's challenging you. You're still using your mind, which is the most important thing, is to train your mind to solve questions under a certain time limit or with negative marking. Oh, I also want to emphasize, I forgot to list that negative marking, you want to minimize it. तो अगर कोई क्वेश्चन है और कोई टाइप का क्वेश्चन है जहाँ पे बार बार नेगेटिव मार्किंग आ रही है, प्रैक्टिस के बाद भी आ रही है, पढ़ लिया बार बार उसके बाद भी आ रही है, identify those and try not to attempt them. Negative marking you have to leave. मतलब पढ़ने में तो छोड़ ही दिया लास्ट में. Negative marking does more damage than not attempting.
Kanish,
Aryan, is she audible?
no, Molly, there is voice issue from your side. Can you check it once?
Negative marking जितना कम हो सके उतना कम करना है. So when you're practicing, when you're self-assessing, try to see कि कौन से questions में बार बार negative marking आ रही है. Despite practice, despite working on it, there are some questions जो नहीं ही होंगे, because everyone has those kind of questions. There's nothing wrong with you. You just don't, it's just not happening. So those questions, try to avoid them in Clat. तो लास्ट मंथ में तो नहीं ही प्रिपेयर करना, नहीं उस पर टाइम वेस्ट करना है, बट क्लैट में भी ट्राई टू अवॉइड अटेम्प्टिंग देम. ये नहीं कि एक बार अटेम्प्ट कर लेते हैं. नो, नेगेटिव मार्किंग डज मोर डैमेज देन not attempting a question. It will just take away the point, like the marks you've scored by doing like right answers. So just avoid negative marking. Try to identify those points as well जहाँ पे negative marking ज़्यादा हो रही है. I think that's all I have to offer. I would be